Hello, my lovely. We know as women with adult diagnosed ADHD that we did not get to where we are right now by doing things the way everyone else did, right? We know we've often felt like the weirdo in the room. I know I did for a really, really long ass time. We're natural born storytellers and industry disruptors, and we love to shake shit up. We don't like being told what to do, but also low key help us by telling us what to do in a way that speaks to our brains because we are wired to see the world in a different way. I know that my diagnosis, which was at 49 years old and happened while running this business, changed every area of my life. And I don't say that anecdotally, I mean that literally. It also changed my business for the better because I got curious and I started working in the way that my brain worked. I started to simplify to scale my business and I created recurring monthly revenue so I never have to start another month at zero again. And that is what I teach my clients how to do. It's my signature method called the spicy minded way. And all that means is that my ADHD brain and 25 years of business experience talks to your ADHD brain. And that is how we figure out what works for you. In today's episode, we will discuss an evergreen offer suite, what that means, how it simplifies your overall messaging for your business as a whole, and what is a business ecosystem, a term that I made up, but after I explain it, you'll understand exactly what I mean and how it applies to you. So, from one ADHD woman in business to another, turn the volume up to an 11 and get ready to learn a thing or two. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneur, the podcast for ADHD millennial women who refuse to play by the rules, who show up as their feral ass selves because beige is fucking boring, and who want to simplify their business so they can scale it. That's probably you. If you're not a millennial, that's okay. I'm glad you are here. My name is Carrie. I'm your host. I am your ADHD business alchemist, and I'm the chief weirdo of my brand, Carrie Out Loud. If you're new here, welcome. I'm really glad you found the podcast. If this episode has an impact on you, if you are in Apple or Spotify, please subscribe, turn on the notifications, and come back every Wednesday for a new episode. Leaving a 5-star review also helps women like you find the podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hi, I see you. You see me, actually. Please subscribe and tell a friend. So, since I understand ADHD, not only professionally, but personally, I do a couple of topics each episode. That way, it speaks to our feral funhouse of a brain because we tend to think in random trains of thought. So, that's kind of how I put this podcast together to fit with the way our brain works. That's how I do everything, really. So, the first thing I want to talk about with you is evergreen offers versus launch, 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 launch. That word is launch, not lunch. And how this can be easier for ADHD humans, evergreen offers, because of when you're constantly launching shit over and over and over again and you're not getting results, that really can play into rejection sensitivity. So evergreen offers and using messaging that positions you as the go-to person to help your ideal fuck yes clients with some very specific things that will help you simplify. And simplification is the name of the game around here. If you haven't been around long, I talk about simplification and simplifying your business in order to scale it. It is the biggest topic. So, one of the questions you may be wondering is, well, how do I figure out my thing? You've been doing business long enough to know that there are a few things that your clients come to you talking about with you and commenting on how awesome you are when it comes to specific things. So, what do your clients tell you out of their face hole that you do the best over and over and over again? What do they say to you out loud? What do they put in their testimonials? Usually you'll find 3 to 4 through lines, a few things that they are talking about. Become the go-to for those things. It may sound counterintuitive. However, when you, as I've said before, narrow your focus, you actually widen the net of people who are listening and watching. So I was always talking about ADHD women in business. That is broad as a fuck. I thought I was like honed in. Nope, that was broad. But once I started discussing simplification and getting my clients out of the messy middle and the things that I do to get them out over and over and over again, my DMs started lighting up with people, with women, my fuck yes women, by the way, not just any old ICA ideal client, but like the people I crave working with, they started coming to me. So let me give you an example what this looks like in my own business and what I mean by evergreen offers. So I have one-on-one intensive that I can put out there when I want to, when I have maybe some extra time that I want to do some coaching because of the way that I set my offers up. I have a lot of freedom and flexibility. So that is the first thing that I have that sometimes people just want trial by fire. They just want to ask me questions and have me shoot out answers at them, or they want me to take a look at their business as a whole and see where they can make tweaks, where they're leaking energy or time or, of course, revenue, right? Then I have the Neurospicy Sisterhood Mastermind, which is a hybrid mastermind, and it includes my signature course, which is a decent sized course, but it's in bite sized pieces. And so I put that inside of the sisterhood because what it does is it helps women get out of the messy middle. They can take that course and it's group coaching. So they can come in and get hot seat coaching. If they have questions on that or questions that are happening in their business in real time, they can bring those to the calls. There's 3 calls a month. And the first week of the month, I don't have a call. There are also trainings inside that I do live and answer Q&A, and then I have a growing on-demand library. So when I do a training, it goes into the library. And so anybody who comes inside has access to that library, has access to my, signature course, and they have access to me a few times a month. This is my scalable offer. What that means is it's open all the time. I can grow it I can handle far more human beings in that way, in that capacity, because of the way it's designed. It has all different types of support. I am a piece of that support, right? And if it gets to a point where it gets larger and I want to add an additional call or two, that's 1 or 2 hours additional a month. That is no big shakes, right? I'm not selling more time for money. It's the same time, even if I add 1 or 2, meetings. And I'm helping my clients with the things I help them the best. Then I have a new mastermind that I've been talking about on the back end that I haven't launched publicly, that I haven't put onto my Instagram yet or formally launched in any way. And that's called it's called Force of Nature. It's the Accelerator Mastermind. And this is for higher level clients who want higher touch. And this is more proximity to me. It's a higher price point. It has limited spots. And I only take 8 people. That's what I'm going to do at first and see how 8 feels, because capacity in each of your offers and understanding what you can handle capacity wise is important. So since that's a little more high touch and they have access to me through a two-way channel in a group chat to ask questions in real time, that's a little bit more high touch. So I limit the spots there, right? Then I have my one-on-one time, which is my top tier. It is the creme de la creme who really want to hit the pedal to the metal. And I offer it right now as a 1 or 3 month intensive. And I only take 2 of these clients at a time because I'm like elbow deep sharing screens. They have access to me on a one-on-one channel. So I take into consideration capacity. Again, I said the word capacity because if you don't know how many people you can handle or manage in your offers, you need to look at that. So because I know my capacity, that is how I settled on the numbers for everything. But the sisterhood, like I said, which is scalable, and I can add an hour or two if I want to make sure that I am giving the level of service to the clients that are in there and that everybody feels like they are getting their time that they need. And I don't sell them all like outwardly. I do talk about them. I talk about things that happen inside the sisterhood. I talk about my one on one coaching. I do talk about them by name for the sake of branding them so that when people are interacting with me, they know that they know these names. These names become memorable. But I don't launch them hardcore. I speak about what I do and how I teach my clients to create businesses that work for their brain, that I help them collapse time, that I help them create a business that works for them and works the way that they do, that makes sense to their brain. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else's brain, it has to make sense to yours. And I have done this for myself, and I have helped countless other clients in their businesses, simplifying everything. And that doesn't mean necessarily hiring a bunch of people. Sometimes simplifying is putting a few systems, hiring a couple of contractors who do, who can put together certain things for you, automations or systems in ways that work for you. It could be a one off, or you can have, like I have, an operations manager who does a handful of things for me behind the scenes so I can focus on the things that I love doing. Now, to change the train a little bit, next train of thought is how this simplifies your messaging. Okay. So we're talking about this suite, this offer suite that's got all of these pieces to it. And what this does when you do this is it simplifies your messaging. Because of the fact that I truly know what I help with the best, even though I absolutely, because of the way ADHD brains are, we learn shit fast. We absorb shit fast and then we turn around and we teach it, right? That is how we're designed. Plus, I'm a manifesting generator. I'm here to like try shit out, fail, learn from that, and then teach that to you or teach you new ways to do shit, right? And I do have expertise in things like branding, marketing, content, social media, etc. But if I'm saying I do all of these things, it's so confusing to my fuck yes clients, the ones who need the exact thing that I do the most. And so I lean into certain things that are specific to simplification of your business. That is my overall message: simplification. It is a word that I have heard over and over and over and over again from clients. They want to simplify. I know how to do that. I know how to help them do that in a way that works for them, because there is no one size fits all. There's no one right way. I talk about the fact that ADHD women can do anything they put their fucking mind to. And I am not for the woe is me crowd in business. That is not my jam. Those are not the women that I am designed to help. It's not that I'm an asshole. It's just that I know that other women who have the kind of tenacity and see the upsides of their ADHD and learn how to manage the challenging parts, those are my people. And they are I know I have ADHD, but that shit doesn't hold me back. And those are the people who are drawn to me. And I also realized one final thing. Is a topic that nobody talks about on the regular, and that is being in the fucking messy middle and how to get to the other side of it, where to start, right? Because there's this point in the messy middle where you're not quite a solopreneur, you're not quite a CEO yet. You've probably hit some sort of revenue wall. You can't seem to get past it. And you're like, how do I get out of this? What are the first few steps to get out of this? So what did I do? I created free resources that all have to do with getting out of that place, because that is one of the things I do best: help my clients get to the other side of that and 2, 3, 10x their revenue, right? Push past that revenue wall and scale the shit out of their business if that's what they want to do, no matter what their income goal is, whether it's 100K or it's 500K a year, whatever, it doesn't matter. But You're not a solopreneur anymore, but you haven't fully stepped into that CEO role. I help women get out of that position. So, those are my core messages. ADHD women can do anything. Simplification is key for us with ADHD. How to get out of the messy middle, how to start to get out of the messy middle and build momentum, and then push past that revenue wall. That's what I talk about on repeat. Simplifying your business includes a lot of things, though: systems, automations, strategies that work for your brain versus against it, helping create boundaries, because boy, can we be boundaryless. We have this people pleasing tendency. And so boundaries are like, boundaries? What fucking boundaries? So I help with that. That gives you time back. It also increases your revenue. It also teaches others how to create boundaries. There's a ripple effect. It teaches your clients to respect you and your clients to respect themselves enough to create boundaries. I help create a fuck yes offer suite and a business ecosystem, which I will talk about shortly, and how to create recurring revenue that you can predict for 6 months, 12 months out. Because with ADHD, a lot of us want more stability in our business. And when you create more recurring revenue and you can predict out a little bit further what your approximate income is going to be, it really changes and lowers your stress level. You know and have an idea what's coming in, and it compounds over time. And there are little things you can do if you want to for funsies, like master classes or one-on-ones, like one-offs, where you can infuse your business with more revenue if you want to. That's how you play and keep it novel, keep it new, right? You're going to hear me talk about these topics in my ecosystem. I am not talking about my individual offers all the time. I am not launching all the time. I am talking about my coaching style, who I help the best, who they are, so they can put their feet in the shoes of somebody who works with me and goes, oh, yeah, this is totally me. And to see if I'm a fit. And step one to work with me 99% of the time is a clarity call. And not everybody does that. And that is okay. Everybody's business model is different. The 0.01 is usually because I know them or I've talked about their business with them so much, or they're friends who hire me, or we know we're a fit because we've talked so much that that vibe is there. So I will just do a little call just to make sure that, like, in person we vibe. But I know this isn't for everyone. I love it. I do them to make sure that we are a match, especially when you're going to be working for someone on the long term or in deep depth, because if it is not a fit for everyone, it fucking sucks. And nobody wants that. I don't want my clients wasting their time. I don't want them wasting their money. And so I want to make sure that we are a fit. And I want to make sure it's a fit for me. Because if it's not a fit for me, then I would like to refer them to somebody who perhaps is a better fit. I have a very large network. My sales process is very simplified. I start with a few questions in the DMs or in an email, or if somebody inquires on my website, I ask those questions to see if I can help. And if it is in my wheelhouse and I know that I can help, again, we get on that call, make sure it's a fit, and then I share the few offers that are my evergreen offers that I have in my office, in my offer suite. I tell the client which one is probably the best fit. And no, it is not always my highest package. I literally want you to have the offer that is the best fit for you and where you are at in your business. That's the bottom line. I want to sell with integrity. So that's what I do. And then they will choose how they want to work with me based on the level of support they need. And I don't fucking hard sell. That is not my style. We are grown-ups. And when you know you want something, you will go for it. And once my clients come in with me, they do not tend to leave. They tend to rehire me on repeat. So that is a wonderful thing because they see the results that they're getting. How does knowing what those 4 things I help with my messaging? Because I know that it's these things over and over again. Simplification mindset covers how less is more, how automation and delegation does a lot of heavy lifting for you. things like ManyChat and having simple systems and funnels for free resources that take that person to that next step and see, oh, this is an offer? Is it for them? They're in your world. Don't lose the revenue or the human above and beyond the revenue, the human being, because you gave them a free resource and didn't offer them a next step. And I will tell you, oftentimes they want a next step. They loved what you had to offer in your free resource. What's the next way that they can work with you? That's really important to talk about, right? Um, I talk about what a fuck yes client offer suite looks like so that my clients don't leak revenue, time, energy, creating recurring revenue with creating recurring revenue with offers that are evergreen, and talking about what I help my people do, my coaching style, and selling that versus selling features of offers, because no one gives two shits that it has 3 appointments here and 2 this and that and the other thing. They want to know, can you get me from point A to point B? Can you get me from point A to point D faster and collapse time? Can you help me bust past this revenue roadblock? What does it look like when we're done? Then the sales page or the deets sheet details, those are something you give to them. So they make sure that the rest of it is a fit. But for the most part, they just want to know, can you help me get from here to there? That's what I talk about more than anything. I talk about why I'm a solution and the right fit for them. They're in my DMs. They come to me. This was not always the case. Like as early as soon as 5 or 6 months ago, this was not the case. But with the simplification and with the tweaks that I have made, and with looking at my business over the last 2 years and working really hard to get here, that is what made a difference. And I also help you create those fuck yes boundaries. Those boundaries that you need to have as a people pleaser, because it helps you with self-confidence. It helps you lead by example. You get a lot more respect, and others respect themselves too, and create those boundaries. Ripple, ripple, ripple. Okay. So that's how it simplifies your messaging. And then the final topic for today, this last train, is your business ecosystem. What the fuck does that mean? Okay. First of all, your offer suite isn't a bunch of random offers. It's an ecosystem that supports your brand and your clients on multiple levels, but it simplifies everything because, like we were discussing, your overall messaging is the same, and it supports what you do the best as a coach or service provider, not just regurgitating the features of each offer and launching all the time. That is a lot to an ADHD brain. Even if we are doers, when you're constantly doing that, if that is not your jam, that feels so hardcore. So let me just go over what my ecosystem looks like. And it may sound like a lot, but when you start hearing about the repurpose word, you will understand why this works and how it gets you into more places. My home base is Instagram. That is where I hang out the most. But I am in different places on different platforms, and I do this by repurposing content and what I'm sharing any given week. So, what does it look like? Every touch point leads back to me, leads back to my brand, leads back to the center, my core messaging. My ecosystem is my email list, and I have my free resources that help people on my email list, and I have my love note. My love note is my weekly email, and I take that and repurpose it and now put it on Substack, which is another platform, a different platform for people who like reading more long form. I love writing long form. So I take that email and I repurpose it. Instagram, of course. And sometimes I take my copy from a post if I felt like it really hit a solid point, and I'll flesh it out, and that becomes my newsletter. So we're back to email list and Substack, right? One Instagram post could cover all 3 things. This podcast, it's on Apple, it's on Spotify. It's also on YouTube in long form. Hi, if you're on YouTube, in long form and short form because they have the shorter form content there. And those videos are the size of, guess what? Reels, which means whatever goes in short form on YouTube then goes in short form onto Reels. Website, the ask me, the website is about me, about what I do best, and it has a contact form. It doesn't have a ton of different offers all over it. It talks about who I help, how I help them, and my coaching style. Do you see a theme here? And then Threads. Threads is fun, and that's where I test messaging. A lot of times I will test out something, and if I get a really good response to it, I know, okay, that messaging is speaking to the right people. So, even though that sounds like a lot, I write the email myself, but my OBM does a couple of things. She schedules the email itself. I write it, but she scheduled it. Substack, I just repurpose that myself. Um, Instagram, I create my own content there, but the podcast, all I do is record it. She takes it, she edits it, she takes the show notes, she uploads it and does all that. She also puts it on YouTube, the long and short form, and then gives me those reels so that I can post them on Instagram. My website is up and running. I'm tweaking it from time to time, but I don't really fuck around with it. And Threads, I sometimes will take a caption or something I put in a story and I'll put it there. But here's the thing, everything points to me, not just a single offer, but the whole brand experience, my whole brand, me, and what I do best. And it's not that I am saying I change people's businesses. They have to do the work. But let's be clear, my knowledge and my information is the thing that helps collapse time, bust past revenue, scale your business. So it's a partnership. Everything leads back to me to see, are we the right partnership? So to finish this out, I want to ask you to ask yourself a few questions. Do you have an ecosystem or are you just on one place? Are all your eggs in one basket? I highly recommend diversifying and doing that through repurposing. You do not have to create all original things for every place. You can literally have one theme per week that you do. Let's say there's 4 things that you talk about regularly. I tell my clients this all the time. You can do theme week. 1 week is subtopic 1, 1 week is topic 2, 1 week is topic 3, 1 week is topic 4. Guess what? You put all of those things in all those different places because not everybody is going to see every part of what you do. And if somebody comes across something that is the same thing, so what? Maybe they needed to see the message a second time. So, do you have an ecosystem? And if you do, are you repurposing? Does it all flow together with your messaging as a whole, or does it feel disjointed and disconnected? If it feels disjointed and disconnected, using themes can help you and having somebody help you repurpose, or if you're still in solopreneurship, repurposing things you already do and create, that maybe take an extra 5 minutes. The next question is, do you have overarching messaging that talks about what you do best that doesn't lead back to an offer that you have? It leads back to you in some way, shape, or form as a mentor or coach. To your website, to your YouTube, to your Instagram. Does it lead back to you? Are people staying with you once they find you? Once your clients hire you, do they stick with you? That means you have nailed it, the thing that you help with the most. Even though I help women unfuck themselves and get out of the messy middle, I also help with scaling and continuing to scale. I have a client who's hired me 3 times for, 3 months, 3 months, for 3 months. I have a client who's been with me for a year. I have long-term clientele. So once your people find you, do they stay? That is part of working smarter, not harder. And it's not to have them depend on you. It is to help them and keep facilitating their growth. And by the way, that helps you grow too. It really does. Going deep with your clients versus wide. Now, for some, going wide and doing, say, just digital products or things like that, so there can be a lot more freedom in your business, is of course an option. I'm a deep diver. I like to go deep with my clients. I like to know 6 months in that I know your business inside and out, that I am supporting you in the way you need to be supported. If you're a verbal processor, I know that. I to let you talk. If you need ideas, I know that about you. I get to know you as a human and I get to know your business. I like that depth. Not everybody wants that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's so many different ways to do business, but you can still set up your offer suite to really speak to your client by giving that messaging over and over again. And what happens is once people find you, they stay, meaning they buy other products that you create because they know your shit is good. They trust you. And then lastly, do you make it easy for them to move through your world? Confusing messaging and confusing offers and confusing information on repeat will lose you clients. Because if you're confused, so are they. But if you have this ecosystem that leads back to you and what you do, it makes it easy for them to DM you and say, "Hey, I want to work with you. I want to find out about what you offer. I want to find out." Maybe they've heard you talk about some of your offers. Like, I keep hearing you talk about the sisterhood. Like, can I get more information on that? They come into your DMs because they see themselves in the shoes of the person who you service, who you help. And they want to find out if you can help them. And by doing that, you will make every process in your business so much more simple. Your clients will not be confused. They will come back on repeat. They will refer people to you. And that is all working smarter, not harder. That is the core of simplification. That's it for today. With that, I'm going to end today's episode. If you loved the episode, please subscribe to the podcast, a 5-star review, tell a friend, drop into my DMs and tell me, what did you get out of this episode? What was the biggest thing that you took with you? I'm a connection queen. I love to talk to people a lot who listen to the podcast. I love feedback. As a listener, you're always welcome to share with me. And until next week, I see you. I love you. And I'm fucking rooting for you always. Stay feral. See you next time. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.